I'll now recognize myself for 5 minutes. I'd first like to ask our Comptroller Gould on a question on the Genius Act, which we recently passed, of course, here in Congress. How is the OCC preparing to implement the Genius Act? What is the timeline? And what are the key rules that you'll put in place so that those folks who are in the stablecoin business can have clear direction in which to move forward?
Thank you very much for the question, sir. As you probably know, we have proposed a pretty significant rulemaking. The comment period closed. I think we received over 300 comments. We're in the process of reviewing those comments as quickly as we can and making changes and responding to those comments as necessary to make sure that our final output is something we're proud of and something that appropriately balances both the potential as well as some of the risks that many have noted associated with payment stablecoins. Separately, and I would say, sir, we are very well aware of the statutory deadlines that Congress has imposed on us, and we're doing our utmost to meet those statutory deadlines without compromising, hopefully, the quality of the work product. Separately, there are efforts underway, other rulemakings that we're doing, including with Maine Treasury on the BSA/AML side, which are very important as well, and so those are also going on too.
You recognize the idea of the timeline. Do you feel you'll meet that congressional timeline?
Sir, I couldn't, in good faith, tell you right now whether we will or will not, but we are working very hard. Our teams have been working almost since before the law was signed the bill was signed into law by the president. So we've been working very, very hard.
I'd like to ask Ms. Bowen, if I could, a question. As we all recognize with the sharp rise in interest rates starting in 2022, banks like Silicon Valley Bank, of course, just simply failed. And I'd like to know from your perspective, what are we doing now to mitigate those risks moving forward on liquidity issues, capital, balance sheets, you name it? What are we doing to make sure that that might happen? We all recognize the challenges with interest rates as they rose dramatically in the previous administration. And I know Chairman Powell is before us. In fact, he answered my question. I asked him the question, well, why did interest rates rise so quickly? His answer was pretty simple. He said the government was spending too much money. But that being said, on the interest rate question and the effect of SVB Bank, what are we doing to mitigate those risks moving forward?
Well, thank you for that question. So a few things that we've already done and a few that are in train. The first is that we've just recently introduced our Basel capital proposals, and the comment period ends on those June 18th. We look forward to reviewing the feedback on that. That proposal includes a provision on mark-to-market for AOCI, and that may have some impact on that. We look forward to comments. The other issue is, you mentioned liquidity. Together, the regulators are working toward putting together a proposal to address liquidity weaknesses and requirements that we could look at going forward. The Federal Reserve is uniquely positioned in that we're both responsible for bank supervision, but also for monetary policy. So it seems as though these things, while unrelated, really are related, as we saw during the COVID period when we were increasing interest rates on such a rapid basis at such a large amount in increments. As the governor responsible for the smaller bank portfolio, we were watching carefully that impact as we were increasing rates so dramatically and so quickly on the smaller banks. And we recognized that there were issues that were arising, and we were working with our banks to, one, educate them about what our expectations would be going forward, and two, trying to understand fully what the implications would be and working to shock portfolios to understand the conditions that could arise that would be significantly detrimental to the banking industry. I think it's important that we have people with banking experience that serve in these roles. You know, I sit in the role on the Federal Reserve Board that's reserved for someone with community banking or state bank commission experience. And I think that allowed me to see and understand in a different way than some of my colleagues did at the time.
Thank you so much. I'll just close with this. As we've had this very kind comments about our former chair, Mr. Powell, again, in this very committee earlier this year, or maybe late last year, it was the recognition of the chairman that the reason why we had such high interest rates was just the out-of-control spending that took place in that time period, and that was his own testimony when I asked him in this committee.